Hi guys, it's Mandy from Mandyleeplays, and in today's video, we are going to be getting some 2D action because I want to talk about Paper Mario and the things I would love to see in the remake. Now, I still can't believe this game is coming to the Switch. Like, I'm so shocked. I just want to go over the improvements that I would love to see in the remake. So with that, let's get on with the video. The first thing I would love to add is fast travel. Now, the world of Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door is not that big. It's very interconnected, so you could get from point A to point B fairly quickly if you know where you're going. But notice how I said if you know where you're going, because with me and my first experience, I did not know where I was going sometimes. There was this running joke on my streams that the first hour of the stream was just me looking for the place to go. And that was true because I got lost a lot. And it was just very infuriating, especially when streaming the game. But personal problems aside, there was a specific point in the later chapters of the game where you were tasked with finding a certain character in the game. The problem was, though, the location of this character keeps changing, so you're going to have to chase him for a while. Now, that's towards the end of the game, but it just really highlights how it will be easier to open the map and go back to locations you have visited, so you could get that quest done in minutes. Also, the underground area where they have the Thousand-Year Door, I always got lost into that place because all the walls and things look the same. Now, as you're going through the game and as you gain more level up and points and more partners, you could traverse through the places deeper and deeper. But I just got lost all the time. I hated it down there. Oof. And I do want to add, enemies do respawn. Now, some of you may be like,
that's a good opportunity to get experience points.
But no, not in Paper Mario. Once you're over the level of the enemy, you don't get any experience points. None. At most, you could get 1 XP, but that's about it. If you're too OP and you go against the enemy, then you get nothing really. Especially because the enemies still do hunt you, even if you're over their level. So it's really annoying. So I hope Nintendo puts this quality of life feature into the game. Now, if it's not into the game is still amazing. I'm not gonna say it's ruined. If it doesn't have fast traveling, of course it's not, but it will make life a little bit easier traversing the towns. And for safe measure, you could still walk to each area like before. So if you don't like the fast travel and want to walk it, you can still walk it. I hold the thought that if you're gonna do a remake to a game, might as well go all out in it, honestly, because you only get 1 chance to do those, or 2. I never seen a game remade twice. Anyways, you only get 1 chance to redo it, so you might as well do it right. The next point that I would love to see in the remake is all stage effects should be preventable. Now, in Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door, one of its main features is the gameplay. And in the gameplay, you're literally on stage and you have a crowd, and it just really impacts the way you play the game. If you please the crowd, they'll give you good stuff. If you don't, they'll throw cans at you, which you could avoid, but it's just very annoying. But there's also hidden dangers among that stage that you would not anticipate. But there are these lights on the floor, which occasionally could throw fog in the arena, so you can't hit the enemy or the enemy can't hit you. It might throw flames and even pull off fireworks as well. So the stage could be a hazard within itself. I've had times where I played and I was almost beating the enemy, but the stage itself was the one that caused my death. Now, this is kind of a nitpick because if they left it where the stage is the secret boss, I wouldn't be mad about it. But if they implemented a more fair RNG exchange where you could prevent the stage hazards from occurring, that would be awesome. Now, in my playthrough, the stage was annoying and it did lead to some death, but nothing too extreme. But one of my friends, Jugs, he got the worst stage of them all. He was like talking about how he died so many times because of the fog and the fireworks and the everything, and I was just like, oh my, he must have had a cursed copy. So RNG is a big factor in this game, and it would be nice to just tip the scales a bit where it's more even and balanced. That's all I'm saying. So the point I'm trying to make is that I don't really like the RNG in these games because there is luck, but then there is just bad luck too. And even though the effects might help you in the battle, more often than not, it doesn't help you in the battle. Though having the stage just following you is very hilarious. Like I said, the stage is a super boss. Now, the next one is kind of a chonker, and that is redo the Glitz pits with tougher enemies. Now, I'm getting pretty ambitious with this. It's just more of a concept that I have in my head than, you know, just pressing a button or something, so hear me out. The next improvement is to add cups in the Glitz pits. Now I gotta admit, chapter 3 is one of the better chapters of the game and one of my favorites personally. The way it's set up and the characters and the dialogue are just peak on this chapter. But there is something extra I wanted to add. Now I'm not gonna spoil too much of this, but the whole chapter is based on a tournament arc and Mario has to climb the ranks to progress in the plot of the story. But it sucks that it gets left in the dust once the chapter is done. So here's my solution to this chapter. Add more tournament cups, with each cup getting progressively harder as you climb up the ranks. Now this could be done as the story progresses or as a post-game option, even going as far as rematching all the bosses that you have encountered through your journey in a Thousand-Year Door. Make the bosses harder, new variations, attack patterns, you know, it could go a long way. So what I'm envisioning is just this glorified boss rush segment at the end of the game or during the game. It would be so fun. Also, beating these high tier bosses could give you unique items and badges for your adventure that either A, you could use during it, or B, you could use on New Game Plus or something. Alright, now this is gonna get a little bit tin foil hat, I guess, because not only do I want the Thousand-Year Door bosses replayable, I want the Paper Mario 64 bosses replayable as well. I know, it's crazy. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. But do I hope it happens? Heck yes. It's a nice callback to original Paper Mario, and I would just love to see it. I know, it sounds dumb. Now, I'm no game dev, so I don't know how hard that would be to implement into the game, but I do hope Nintendo goes a little bit above and beyond with it. My next point I want to make is rewarding the player for the Tattle Log. For those who don't know, Goombella is the first ally Mario befriends in the game. She has the ability to tattle, where she could scan the enemy's stats and give you a brief yet sometimes humorous descriptions of the enemies. Keeping up with the humor, of course, is always great in this series. That's what makes it stand out. Anyways, whenever Goombella tattles on an enemy, she keeps a record of it in her Tattle Log, which has stats on all the enemies you tackle through your journey. So basically the log kind of acts like a Pokédex in a Pokemon game, but the only bad thing about the Tattle Log is you don't get any rewards for completing a certain amount of Tattle Logs. It's just there if you need it, which is a good enough incentive, but I feel like they could add more to it. At first, the Tattle Log is really great, but once you get more partners and get deeper in the adventure, you don't really have time to waste one attack just to see the enemy stats when you could just kill the enemy. Like, I never used it even in boss battles because it's so risky to waste a turn. You don't really want to. So Goombella just really sat on the sidelines with me because there's nothing she could do. But adding a reward or some more incentives could be great for Goombella. As you keep adding, the rewards keep getting better and therefore worth doing. So this point is mostly towards just going for that completionist 100% kind of vibe and getting cool items in the process. So it's basically stuff I would like so I don't get bored. God, the more I think about these points, the more I'm like, is this for the game or for me? Now the next point is something that could go along with the previous one, and that is side quest tracking. As I was playing these games, it was really hard for me to get these side quests and remember them, and that's a problem because, you know, memory is subjective. I don't know. So I think the Thousand-Year Door should really implement a tracker of some sort for your side quests. So basically how the side quest works is you get them from this weird looking house in the far eastern part of the town, and it's called the Trouble Center. Forget about the Trauma Center, it is the Trouble Center. Inside the building is a bulletin board where various characters could post troubles they're having, but basically it's this whole big fetch quest kind of vibe. So even though the quests are nicely organized in the billboard and stuff, once you leave, you're gonna have to remember. So to save the player some trouble, why not have that billboard in the player's menu? And you could do a little checkoff list. Not the most annoying thing to deal with, but it's always the little things that make the experience even greater. And it also would incentivize more people to do the side quest, because I knew that I was probably gonna forget it, so why even try? Now the last point is one of my favorites, and that has to do with Luigi. I think anyone who's played the Thousand-Year Door would agree to this one because Luigi in this game is just peak comedy. I love it. Now in the game, if you talk to Luigi after each chapter, he will do this whole story on his adventures in the Waffle Kingdom. And they are wild. And you really don't know if his stories are real or not, because sometimes he will say stuff so out of pocket you're like, that's not real. Other times he will say stuff and you're like, wow, did that really happen? Because Luigi in this game is kind of jealous of Mario going through all these adventures. So on one hand, you're like, maybe he's just making it up to make it seem like he's doing stuff. But then on the other hand, he has like a partner character saying that it was all true. And I'm just like, Luigi, let us know all the details, because the Waffle Kingdom is sounding like the Waffle House every time he talks, and I want to know more about it. Now, I'm not saying there has to be this whole side story about Luigi's adventure, but a more nicer way to implement it. Maybe have it where it's a picture book and it's illustrated, or having an expansion to the story where it further dives into what the heck happened. Is it true or is it not? Not gonna lie, I really would love a Luigi game in the Waffle Kingdom. That would be epic. In conclusion, I hope that at least one of these points makes it to the remake, but if they don't, the game will still be very, very awesome, and I can't wait to play it again with you guys. That'll be so much fun. Tell me in the comments down below, what features would you love to see in the Paper Mario remake? Would you like to see any new features? Let me know. If you like this video, then hit that like button, and if you like my channel and would love to see more RPG goodness, then smack that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 6K by the end of the year. You can follow my socials in the description down below. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day. And as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.